we're going to travel down to Louisiana, and August is going to lead us down there too. She's going to take our hand and bring us to Louisiana. So what do you got for us again, August?
Well, in this case, it's pretty unfortunate that we are going down to the South US, which I guess that's usually a common thing, actually. I don't know. It's kind of humid down there. So this article is about students that were duped into attending a religious event. And I am a student myself, no longer in high school, thank fuck. But as a student, this really riles me up. So this article was posted September 24th. It comes from Yahoo News, and it speaks on the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. I will say right off the bat that parish does not mean what we typically think of like a Catholic parish. I did see some comments in different social media platforms that said, you know, parish, oh, isn't it a religious school? Like, why? What's the problem with that? No. This is a public school. This is a government-funded public school in the United States. So just want to make that clear. So the students were told that this was going to be an event that was similar to a college fair and a career fair to get them, these are high school students, getting set up to go to college or start their career. And instead, they were taken by bus over to Living Faith Christian Center to a place and an event called Day of Hope, which already I feel like has a lot of religious undertones, but I digress. When the students arrived, they were separated by gender. And when I say gender, I mean the right wing's form of gender, not as a spectrum. It was males go here, females go here, no nuance or no gray area. So they were separated by gender. The female presenting people were told about, of course, purity culture, including abstinence. They were also told very traumatic stories about rape and different traumas and even suicide. And these are young adults, these are teenage students being told these against their will. They thought this was a college fair. They thought this was a career fair. And yet they are being preached at to save yourself for marriage. While the male presenting people, they were made to do what the article called macho tasks, which I guess they were being forced to do push-ups and whatnot. So it's very, very like religious school-esque. And this is a public high school. This is multiple public high schools. This is, I think the parish, aka the county, has like 18 different schools. So all these schools came together at this Christian center to get preached at, traumatized. The non-conforming gender identity having people were made uncomfortable and discriminated against. And it's just all around horrific. So I want to go ahead and pass it off here. Let's go to Kelley.
You know what? We cover a lot of stories here on nonprofits, and very rarely does one really piss me off. And this is one of them. I don't see where a public school can come off sending its students to this event without understanding what is happening here. Can anyone just come in and say they're having a career fair as long as they have a venue? What if it's like the International Cannibals Club and they're holding a culinary fair and they're inviting the students over for dinner? Is the school going to check that out? Exactly what are they going to, are they going to put the students into danger by checking the background of the group, or what are they, you know, I'm amazed that this thing ever got off the ground. Or was it that the school knew exactly what was going on here and they thought that they needed a faith-based career fair, you know? And the as you mentioned, the name, A Day of Hope, it does have religious overtones, but I mean, you can have hope for your future without having religion. So it's kind of ambiguous. It's really, it's a real con. And they pulled the wool over a bunch of young kids' eyes. And it's, if you're getting, I mean, it's bad enough to con people like our friend that we just talked about, Juanita, but this is worse. I mean, this is pulling the wool over the eyes of kids who really don't have any choice but to be there. They were stuck. Phil, what do you think? What would you like to say about this?
What I will say is that This is what some Christians do to proselytize, right? They pretend to be offering one thing that seems okay, but really and truly is outright preaching at proselytizing. I see this also as major deception in order to force Christian dogma on public school students without their parents' consent. That is what is happening here. And also, why will a public school be sending the students to a church for a college fair? You know, that raises red flags. And the thing about it is too that the superintendent, the school system superintendent endorsed this collaboration with that Christian organization, right? And the thing about that Christian organization, their website says, we believe by being inspirational, intentional, and intimate, we are able to redirect our students to Jesus Christ. So their mission is to proselytize, to get students to come to their way of belief. Yeah? Yeah. Well,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes, exactly. You know, one of the things that really bothered me about this too was it seemed like they were, like you mentioned, what they did to the girls in the group, August, we're talking about suicide and rape, but they peeled the boys off into another group and basically taught them toxic masculinity. They had push-up contests for money prizes, and it really bothered me that we had this bigoted hierarchy that was pushing this misogynistic ideas of boys being better than the girls and the girls having to put up with these bad behavior of the boys. And I think in a lot of ways that really bothered me the most about this. Even though it was bad that they duped these kids and had them basically prisoners at this event, but the fact that they would teach this really toxic culture and keep this thing going, that we're trying to make ourselves a better society and get rid of. It's just like they're doing the exact opposite of moving our society forward, and that really bothers me a lot. Do you have anything else to add to it, August?
Oh, do I? So I'm about to get on my soapbox here for a minute.
Okay.
And get pretty personal. So when I started questioning my faith, I was also in high school. For those who don't know, I did grow up in a Christian household. It was more or less non-denominational, slightly Methodist. But at 15, during my confirmation, I started questioning. And if this would have happened to me, I would have been completely and utterly fucking traumatized. And the fact that you're doing this to children, you're not only hurting their gender identity by pushing these very heteronormative and cisgender normative things about separating people into male and female if they present that way. There were several people in this article that were saying that they were scared to go to the gender that they actually are, because they were afraid of being discriminated against because maybe they didn't conform as much to the societal norms of how that gender is supposed to present themselves. So you're being discriminated against. You are being told stories of sexual assault and suicide. And again, as someone who is questioning their faith and went through ups and downs with their mental health and had problems with that kind of thinking, this would have been utterly and completely fucking traumatizing. And I am absolutely fucking disgusted. I am disgusted that they would do this. They thought they were going to learn about colleges. They thought they were learning about maybe trade schools where they're going to take their career. My generation is starting to lose hope that we have any kind of fucking future, and that you are sitting there. Not only they didn't even just sit him down and say, hey, here's the love and joy of the truth of Jesus Christ or any kind of bullshit like that. They straight up traumatized and told these children to forgive their one woman who was a speaker said she forgave her ex-boyfriend for his attempted murder on her. Like, are you fucking serious? You're telling this to 17-year-olds, 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
She kind of victimized herself by saying that she because she had met the guy online and didn't tell anybody, it was basically her fault. I mean,
victim blaming.
Yeah,
Victim blaming.
August, for breaking in, but that really
no, you're fine. You gotta calm me down because I'm about to lose it. It's so
no, keep going. I don't want to calm you down. Keep going.
And this was really recent, and unfortunately I've heard this kind of this trope of an angry atheist, and unfortunately sometimes I accidentally and unfortunately become the angry atheist, but I feel like this is a case where that's justified. This is traumatizing to its core. These kids will probably, I mean, Pascal's wager of the whole, well, what if you're going to hell? I had nightmares about hell. And at that point, I hadn't been a victim of sexual assault yet, but then further into my life, I was. And there is, oh my God, I can't. Someone take it away. I can't.
Okay. And you know what else really makes my blood boil along with
please tell me.
August
please join.
And Kelley said, they told the girls, forgive the rapists and those who assault you. What the fuck? Madness.
I have no fucking words. I have no words for that. As a sexual assault survivor myself, how fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? That might be true for you, and that's fine. But you don't get to tell people, especially those who at that young age, you are vulnerable, you are susceptible to these ideas. Imagine if these women, well, actually, no, these fucking girls take this to heart and they say, oh, well, my boyfriend was pressuring me into sex. Maybe I should forgive him. Fuck no. Fuck no.
Nope. No. And it's very traumatizing upset, and they can see it really traumatizing upset to those young girls, and cause serious mental trauma, and then they will, as you said, victim blame, because they try to make it look as if it's the girl's fault.
It's never the victim's fault.
Never the victim's fault. And they will say, because when you look at the article, you also see that they are trying to make the females feel as if the responsibility of preventing the males from having sinful, lustful thoughts and sex with them. Abstinence by females.
Perpetuating rape culture. This is the definition of perpetuating rape culture. I'm so sorry, Phil. I'm so sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's okay. Continue. That's okay, August. I feel
I need to take a deep breath. Calm my blood pressure down here.
Yes. It's really sick. And then having the guys, as you said, go out, do the macho, whatever macho means. I don't know. I wonder what that is, right? The macho stuff. And it is just crazy, because this is purity culture 101. That's what they're throwing at these, purity culture 101. What do you think, Kel?
The misogynistic thing, I understand it's in the Bible. It's part of Christianity, right? But there's other parts of Christianity that are in the Bible too that they don't care about, right? Nope. Like charging usury, forgiving debts every 7 years of Jubilee. What happened to that kind of stuff, right? Why don't we follow any of those anymore? So why can't we throw out this misogynistic attitudes that the Christian church kind of holds on to? Like I said, there's a really bigoted hierarchy that's upholding these very bigoted ideas. And if the Christian church is going to survive into the future, they're going to have to change their stance on this. It's just not in line with the way our society is moving. Just like they had to give up on the slavery issue, they're going to have to give up on this. Apparently, you can pick and choose the parts of the Bible you want to believe in. So why not toss out all the bad stuff, right? Right? Oh. One part the church didn't toss out was you shouldn't lie to people. Apparently, that hasn't stopped a lot of Christians, though.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So apparently, it didn't stop these Christians, right?
No. I have seen this happen before. There are some Christian denominations that actually pretend to do, I know, where they try to pull people from other denominations, and they do the same thing. They pretend, oh, this is such and such, but when you get there, it is something completely different. You know, and it's very dishonest. It is dishonest, and I sometimes wonder what those Christians are really thinking. You know, but then they will accuse us atheists of being despicable and dishonest. Yeah, August. I guess you've heard that before, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like people always harp on atheists and say, especially American atheists, and say, "Oh, you guys only talk about Christianity." Well, it's the biggest thing. It's the most prevalent religion in our country. But I do want to mention that all of the Abrahamic religions push this. That includes Islam and Judaism as well. And there are several other religions that most likely push this as well. So this is also like more of a blanket kind of thing here that many religions push. So we're not just harping on Christianity here. And I also think it's important to notice that there are good Christians. There are people who actually try to follow the teachings of Jesus and say that this isn't right. And while I, disagree with the baseline of that, I do appreciate the people who are people of faith and can call this out. But you guys need to do that more. If any of you are listening to this, you guys need to call this out as well. I do want to say before we switch off, just in case I forget, don't want to forget. So because of this, there has been a website created. It is called Day of Nope, and it's Day of Hope, except hope is turned to nope, which I love that. So it's dayofhope.com. And if you go there, they allow you to give your stories if you were a victim of this and kind of catch up with the news about it. So go ahead and hop on over there and hopefully something's done about this, because I will be livid if this just gets swept under the rug like everything else that comes out like this. It just seems like scandal after scandal, and all it is just, well, we'll just wait it out and no one will remember. And unfortunately that ends up happening. So hopefully, because of this website and the news coverage about it, hopefully something will be done. I cross my fingers.
From what I understand, there was a young trans student there who was bullied, and their parent is now starting a lawsuit against
as
the
they
school
should.
district.
Absolutely,
yes,
they should. Good for that parent. That is a good parent.
Yes. The article said that they mentioned that they were trying to raise money for the lawsuit, and that they had raised $75, but I wouldn't check, and they were well over $10,000 today. So they've gotten a lot of support, and that's a good thing to see, that the public is supporting them to push back at what was done at this school district.
That is really good. You need pushback. Definitely, there must be pushback, and the persons can't sitting on the sidelines is not helping, because Christians and religious people feel their privilege, right? And the privilege have gone on very long because persons just sat back.
But pretty much all of recorded history,
yeah. And I know the United States, even here in Caribbean, the Lord Caribbean, let us say they are pluralistic, but yet they claim to be Christian. Don't know how that works, but a lot of privilege is offered or given to the religious a lot of the time, and it is sad because if you're living in a society where there are many people of different religions, of no religion, you have people who have different beliefs, you have to have something that caters to everyone and not just pushing one particular religion, so definitely people have to push back and say, no, this is not good enough. Definitely. Yeah. August, any final words?
Just to go back to statistics a little bit, it looks like, according to publicschoolreview.com, their graduation rates as of the 2018-2019 school year, so therefore not affected by COVID or the pandemic, which I could understand would drop graduation rates. They are at 69% graduation rate when the average for Louisiana is 84%. So in my head, I'm like, maybe instead of pushing your religious bigotry on students that are young and impressionable, how about you focus on educating them and getting them to graduate high school and actually give them resources for college and careers like you fucking said you would? How about that? How about that? So anyway,